create a new script for our character. To do that, click on Add Component, Script, New Script, and you can create any name you like. I choose Movement. Let's create and add. Alright, the component was created, and now we can open it. Right-click, Edit Script. In this lesson, we will talk about movement and get to know input. Input is a class which helps us to read a user's inputs. For example, I want my character to deactivate when I press the spacebar. To do that, I need to catch the moment when a user presses this particular button and then deactivate the game object. So let's go inside the update function. If input Alright, and now we need to declare our object. Public, should be public. The type is game object. The name is obj. Alright, so let's take a look. Input is a class and geekyUp is a public function inside this class. Since it is public, we can see it and we can use it. Besides getKeyUp, we have a bunch of other functions here, like I'll show you. Input getKeyDown or getKey. So let's delete it. And getKeyUp is working when a user releases a button, while getKeyDown is working when he presses it. Okay, as getKeyUp is a function, we opened parentheses and declared what button to use by typing keycode. Keycode consists of all the buttons we got on a keyboard or joystick. I choose space. We've done with the condition, it was the condition, if a user presses and releases space. Now we decide what is happening in that case. I want my object to deactivate. And as you might figured, setActive deactivates or activates the object, where true activates the game object and false deactivates it. Alright, let's save our script and go back to Unity. And now we have this object slot because in our script we have a public variable object that has type game object. So I just drag and drop my swordman to this slot. Let's click on play. And so nothing is happening. And now I press the spacebar. And then I release the spacebar. My character deactivates. He will not come back in the plain mode because we haven't coded yet. Let's change our game object to the head. All right. Let's see. Space. So, no head. Kinda creepy again. All right. Now I want my character to move right when a user presses the right arrow or letter D and move left when he presses the left arrow or letter A. Let's delete this. First of all, I need to declare the variables which defines the character's speed. Most of the parameters in Unity are float numbers. So I declare the float variable, public, type float, name move speed. Of course, you can create any name you want. And let it be 10. And remember, if you are declaring float variable, don't forget to type F after the number. Let's go inside the update function again. All right, I'm using the if again. So I use getKey in this case because let's move the cursor over it. So right now it returns true while the user holds down the key identified by the key code enum parameter. So it means that our character is moving while we are holding the button. He will not just make a one step and stop. No, he will continue his movement. All right, so we have a condition. Now let's take the transform component and translate it in a particular direction by creating a new vector 3, and I multiply it by move speed and time delta time. So what does it mean? Vector 3 is a structure in Unity Engine, and for you to understand, structure is quite similar with a class. This structure is used throughout Unity to pass 3D positions and directions around. It also contains functions for doing common vector operations. So I use new to create a new object from it, new vector with 3 components, X, Y, and Z. Since we are making a 2D game, we can manage only first 2, X and Y. If you're making a 3D game, you have the third axis, Z. Next, we have a move speed, which controls our movement, and time delta time, the completion time in seconds since the last frame. It provides the time between the current and previous frame. And we really need it inside the update function because if our game slows down, our object will twitch, and time delta time helps to smooth out a movement. Alright, let's copy it and create a function for the right arrow. This time I don't use the game object variable here. We have our script as a swordman's component, so it will work for this particular game object. And if I want, for example, to move other game objects, I can create a new script for them and I can better control my code. All right, so we have our move speed here and we can control it. But right now, let's just enter the playing mode. All right, I press the left arrow, press the right arrow, and yeah, my character is moving. Let's change the move speed to 3, for example. Main mode. And he stops when I release the button. Okay, that's awesome, but I'd like to show you the other way to move your character. We are going to use axis this time. Let's delete it. I create a float variable age equal to input get axis. Get axis uses our axis, and instead of horizontal, the string here may be vertical. And not only this, if you go back to our project, then go to Edit, Project Settings, and find out Input. Here we have axis, and you see all the axes we can use. You can also see the reserved buttons for each axis and even change them. For example, if you don't want A and D, you can choose Z and X. Okay, let's go back to our script. My next step is to declare a variable inside vector 3. It is a vector with new coordinates. X is a horizontal position, and we type age. This is our age variable. And after that, I take the position element from an object transform component. So previous position plus movement variable multiply by move speed and time delta time. Okay? Okay, use my arrows and my object is moving. All right. And I can also use A and D. And it is really useful because some users prefer to use A and D buttons, others like arrows, and our game is perfect for both of them. I have shown you two options how to code a movement, but there are many of them. And I just want you to understand that in coding there are always many solutions for one problem.